Over the weekend, I was given permission to film at the Chelsea Physic Garden, and this seemed a good opportunity to have a look at some beautiful shrubs planted in the garden that are blooming at this time of year. We are specifically going to be looking at small to medium shrubs that would be suitable for smaller gardens as well as larger ones. Enjoy the video. This small growing, not very tall rhododendron is really beautiful. The individual flowers are huge and they are beautifully scented. You get this lovely dark pink bud that opens to this pink flower, and as it fades it goes paler and paler. It's not one of those really tight-headed flowering forms. It opens up and you see every single flower on the inflorescence. It's not going to get too huge either, somewhere around about 3, maybe 4 feet, so around about 1.20 meters by about 1.20 meters. Just a super thing, but you must remember it will require a little bit on the side of acidic soil. I am down the hill, so where it is actually planted in there is probably 30 centimeters higher, so therefore when you think about it, it is only that 1.20 meters. But beautiful perfume, looking stunning, and if you get a cool spring you get long flowering season. If you have a woodland area and you want a smaller shrub, then this is great. This is Dipelta yunnanensis, quite an unusual plant, and it has these stunning tubular flowers. Look at this pink on the down drop, and then this lovely face with that bright orange in the center there. Good foliage, upright stems, and it's one of those plants which you can prune back down. You take 1/3 of the old wood out and then you prune back the other wood, so it's easy to manage and it's not going to take over the space, but just something slightly different. And I just think with these amazing flowers, and it gets covered in them all the way up, it's only just started, there are buds all sitting on here waiting to come out, something that some other people will not have seen, something to have slightly unusual in a shady spot. Dipelta yunnanensis. I've suddenly come across a wonderful Sophora. This Sophora, unlike the one in my own garden, has small leaves, hence Sophora microphylla, but it still has the large hanging yellow flowers. A really beautiful, much smaller shrub than Sophora Sun King, and this one just looks fantastic. Really good in a smaller garden because it's quite upright, doesn't take up too much space. You get these fabulous yellow flowers late spring into early summer, fabulous small delicate pale green foliage to start off with. This one is semi-evergreen, so you'll get a little bit of foliage through the winter time, and then in the spring you get this beautiful burst of the young spring growth. Really lovely dainty shrub. Comes from New Zealand and it is a fabulous thing, and it's hardy in the UK. So this one is obviously just a little bit taller than me, somewhere around about 2 meters. You can train it to be lower. It will take any amount of pruning. Don't prune really violently, but after flowering you can give it a prune back to just shorten it down and make it into a much tighter shrub for you. So this is a small, probably just into medium size shrub. Ceanothus Trewithen blue. Now Ceanothus is a very popular plant for people in their garden, and you can understand why. It is a beautiful evergreen, tiny little evergreen leaves, looks great through the summer and the winter months when it's not in flower, and then in the spring you get this absolute beautiful cloud of blue on this plant. Now this form has branches which hang down, and therefore you get to see all of the tresses and everything coming down through to it. It is another one of those small to medium shrubs for a garden and can be pruned back after flowering, keeping it at a better shape and size for what you want. I think they're stunning. It's still got bud on here. It flowers for at least 2 months in the sort of spring through to early summer, but it is something that is easy for somebody having a garden because of the interest of it being evergreen and the amount of flower that you get in the spring. Really good for the early pollinators. little bit of a perfume to it as well, so that's always of benefit. And I just think this is a stunning colour and it looks so good. Doesn't that just look like a beautiful blue sky? Ceanothus Trewithen blue. Most people think of honeysuckles as twining, climbing, scented climbers, but there are shrubby honeysuckles, and this is one of them, Lonicera maackii. And look at it, these branches with all of that flower just sitting on the top, so it looks as though it is snow covered, but it's beautiful, proper gorgeous honeysuckle flowers with a slight perfume, not a huge perfume. Starts white, goes cream, really fantastic. Now, yes, it is a big arching shrub, but again, it is prunable. So therefore you can keep it in a more restricted place. But it grows underneath huge big trees. It grows in a shady spot. Such a useful shrub, something to look out for. There are other types of shrubby honeysuckle which are slightly smaller, which will take this position, and that is so good because the trees are taking a lot of the moisture as well, and this is underneath something that is going to be out. In fact, it's underneath the Paulownia tree, so when this comes into leaf, it will be really dark underneath here. At this time of the year, this just lightens up the whole area. Let's go to a small shrub. This is a fuchsia. Fuchsia microphylla. Now, we're in a secluded middle of London here, so this is in flower, looking really brilliant. If you were out in a slightly more open area, it probably wouldn't be in flower yet, and it may just die back down. But look at it, it is beautiful. It's just there are about 3 or 4 plants in here, just making a lovely small hedge, tiny little leaves, small little pink flowers, but plenty of them, so therefore it shows up and you get to see them. Hanging little pink bells, just a super little thing. You can take cuttings off these, they are great, they'll go in a container and they'll be front of edge, lovely mounds of colour and foliage. Fuchsia microphylla. And we're also going to talk about this one behind me, which is a little bit more delicate, but look at it, absolutely covered in these beautiful yellow to orange hanging flowers. This is Justicia floribunda. Now this comes from Brazil, so it is something that is a little bit more tender, but if you've got a protected garden, it is great. That's it, you know, it's only around just about 2.5 feet, 75 to 80 centimeters high, probably about the same across. Lovely thing, evergreen, flowering in the spring, just a carpet, or it's not a carpet, is it? It is a fountain of beautiful orange and yellow flowers, just looking stunning in the spring, and it lightens up, it's under the shade, really good plant, somewhere for slightly drier soils. Jovellana, violecea. So this has beautiful lilac flowers which have got yellow centres, they're spotted in the inside there, and it makes a lovely decent size shrub. It can be a little bit tender, but if you grow it in a container, it is great, and you put it into a protected area. It has got a scented foliage, so when you brush past it, you'll get a sort of minty scent from the foliage, but look at the amount of flower that it is covered in, and it keeps on going. Really super thing. The pollinators adore it, and it is just a great plant for a sunny, free draining position. Although it looks as though we're under a lot of trees here, this is getting a little bit of shade, but it's getting direct sunlight at some time in the day. So that's what it requires. Probably about 6 hours sunlight and it will be happy, but free draining is key for it. Jovellana, violecea. Thank you very much for watching, and please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.